Alright guys, I'm going to be going over the benchmark review with you that you got on Friday. Sorry I wasn't here to help you out, but I hope that you follow along today, take good notes. Tomorrow is your benchmark, and I just want you to be prepared. I'm going to show you some calculator strategies. You're going to see that a lot of these problems can be solved by simply graph it, which is why I always say, when in doubt, graph it out. So we're going to look at problem number 1. By the way, good luck tomorrow. Do your best. Get a good night's rest. Eat a good breakfast so that you're wide awake during the benchmark. And just do your best. That's all we ask. We're very proud of you. You guys have come a long ways. And, show us what you got. Alright, so let's look at number 1. Number 1, if you look what the question is asking for, it says the graph below shows the miles driven by the Jenkins family as they traveled to attend a family reunion. So what is the rate of change? So what you need to remember tomorrow for your benchmark is that when they ask you for rate of change, they're talking about the slope, which means that in the linear equation, linear function, they're talking about the m. This is what they want here, because remember that b is your y-intercept. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use the spreadsheet app in order to find the equation. And we've shown you this before. Just wanted to kind of go over it with you again. So we're going to use the spreadsheet app, and we're going to do a menu 413 so that we can find this equation, and then we're going to want the m in that equation. So when you are looking to use the spreadsheet app, you do need to create a table with 2 points. You need at least 2 points off your line. I'm going to use 0, 0. And let's see, what's another good point? Right here at 2, it's going by 25, so 2, 1, 25. So all I'm going to do is put this in the spreadsheet app. So I'm going to go over here to the spreadsheet app. I'm going to put in my x and y. You notice there I've got my points already in there. You would need to type them in there. I did this earlier so you can kind of see the points are in there already. So now I just do a menu 4, 1, 3. And I just click where I type my x numbers, and then where I typed my y numbers, and then I hit OK. And as you notice, the m is 62.5 and the b is 0. So if we go back to the question, they wanted the m. The m was 62.5, and that would be the answer for the rate of change. So in other words, the slope of this line is 62.5. Alright, so let's look at question number 2. Question number 2 is wanting to know which expression is equivalent to this function here. Now just looking at the function, I notice it has the highest power in it is a 2. So right away I know this is going to be a picture of a quadratic function. It's going to look like a u. Okay. So if they want equivalent to this, equal to this, that means I need to find out which one of these functions. These are also quadratics. In fact, these are the factors of the quadratic. And those of you who remember the tic-tac-toe method, that's what you could do with this quadratic. But what I'm going to show you is how you could actually graph the problem, the quadratic in the problem, and then graph the answers so that way you can find the equivalent graph. So let me go ahead and go to the graph app. I'm going to go to the graph app. In fact, I think I already did this one. Yeah, let me go ahead and do it again. So we're going to graph the quadratic. So 3x squared plus 7x minus 6. So 3x squared plus 7x, take away 6. I'm going to hit tab. Now I know that what the answer is, so I'm going to go straight to the answer so you can see how it is equivalent. So I'm going to type in the factor 3x minus 2, and then x plus 3, and you're going to see, if you're looking at the screen, you're going to see that it's the exact same graph. So these two, even though these two functions look different, all they are is different representations of the same function. And so that's why they're giving the same graph. So they got equivalent graphs. That means they're equivalent expressions. So correct answer was B. Okay, so basically you're just graphing and then you're trying to find the match. Graph and match is what I call this. So again, when in doubt, graph it out, because a lot of times you can find your answer that way. Alright, so let's look at question number 3. Question number 3, it says, which of the following equations represents the relationship between x and y given in the table above? So they give you this table, they give you some equations. Wow, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be easy. All we need to do is literally just take these, graph each one, and then just do a Control T so that we can look at the table. And then we just have to match. So again, graph, Control T, and then we're going to match to make sure that the table matches. The table in the calculator matches with the table on paper. Now, I do know the answer to this one as well, so the answer, correct, those of you who did it, correct answer is C. But those of you who did not know what to do, let me just show you real quick. You do want to enter the equation. So C is 5/2 x, take away 4. Press enter. I'm going to do a Control T. Now I'm going to look at x when it's 2, because if you look at, I'm going the wrong way here. So if you notice, 2 should be with 1, 4 should be with 6. So this is what I'm looking for to make sure that these numbers are paired. And if you look at 2, there it is, it's paired with 1, 4 is paired with 6, 6, 11, and so forth. So you do want to go through each number, make sure, because sometimes the first 3 will be matching, but then the rest won't, so be careful with that one. Make sure that you go through and you check every single point until you find the one that has the correct table. The correct answer was C. Alright, so let's look at question number 4 next. Now question number 4 says which coordinate pair, so which point is in the solution set for, and then they give you this inequality. Now I know this is an inequality because it has an inequality symbol. And that inequality symbol happens to be a less than symbol. Looks like an L for less. So less than symbol. So really all I need to do is, again, I need to graph this. I'm going to graph the inequality. And then I'm going to plot. I'm going to take these points and I'm going to do a menu 811 so that I can plot the points. And that way I can look to see where, if the point is in the shaded area. Now this is a less than symbol, so it's going to make a dotted line, and so these points must be only in the shaded area. So that's what where I'm going to look. I'm going to look for the point to see which one will land in the shaded area, not on the line. So shaded area only. Okay, if it's dotted, you cannot have a point on the line. Solid, yes. Alright, so I do know the answer to this one as well. The answer is D. But I do want to show those of you who didn't know what to do on that one. Let me just kind of go through it. You do have to hit the delete key to pull up the inequality symbols. I'm going to go to y is less than, and then put 1 minus 6x. Okay, there it is. I'm going to click on the line because it looks solid, but it's not. If you click on it, you'll clearly see that that is a dotted line. So please don't pick a point on the dotted line. You want a point here in the shaded area. So I'm going to start plotting my points. I'm going to use menu. I'm going to go to geometry, which is 8, points and lines, and then point, 811. And then you hit open parentheses and type each point. So I know the answer is -1, it's D, -1, enter, 1, enter. So see, that's in the shaded part. When you look at the other ones, so I'm going to do the other ones as well just so you can kind of see 1, enter. The first one was over here. Okay, it's in the blank area, so that can't be an answer. That's not in the solution set. Solution set is here. It's all the points that are in this shaded part. All of them, all of them. Oh, there's tons of them. There's too many, I can't even. That's why they just color it in, because there's just too many infinite points there. But yeah, on this one, the correct answer was D. Okay, so remember, if it's dotted, shaded only. Solid, it can be on the line. Okay. Alright, so let's look at the next question, which is question number 5. Now, question number 5, it says if 3 times 2x minus 7 equals 10x plus 6 times x plus 4, what is the value of the x? So they're giving us an equation here. And so what we can do is menu 31. And that way we can solve. We're going to use that numerical solve. It's called msolve. And so what we can do is type it in there. Don't forget your comma and x. You always have to put an x after you enter it. Okay, so it should have parentheses around the whole equation. So this time I'm going to the first app for my menu 31. So menu, algebra, numerical solve. I'm going to type in the equation, 3 parentheses 2x minus 7, and then let me get out of the parentheses here, put the equal sign, and then 10x plus 6, and then parentheses x plus 4. So I'm just going to type that in there. I'm going to put the comma, put the x. This is what everybody seems to forget, so don't forget the comma and the variable. If it's a y, you put a y, m, you put an m, b, you put a b. And then just press enter. So there's the correct answer to the x, and so that means that the correct answer would be C. Now another thing you could do is go back and plug in the 2, like plug the 2 there, plug the 2 there, plug the 2 there. Do the math here and do the math here and see if the 2 sides are the same when you plug in the 2. Okay, the 2 sides should be equal. Now that takes a little bit longer. I prefer menu 31, so either way is fine. Alright, so let's look at question number 6 next. Here it says the linear parent function y equals x is graphed on the same coordinate grid. A new line, so we have this linear parent, which is y equals x, graphed on the same coordinate grid. A new line is graphed that has a slope of half and a y-intercept of -5, which statement is true? So basically what we're going to do is just graph. Again, when in doubt, graph it out. So we're going to graph the parent, and then we're going to graph this equation. Now the m is 1/2 and the b is -5. So the equation would be 1/2 x minus 5. So we're going to graph the 2. We're going to see, is it steeper? Did it translate up? You know, kind of go through each answer. So let's go ahead and start by graphing. I'm going to go ahead and clear some stuff out here. Control N. We're going to put the linear parent, which is just x. And then we're going to put the new line, which is 1/2 x. And then take away 5. Okay, there's a new one. So if you notice, it did get less steep. If I take this and I rotate it downwards, you can see that it is getting less steep. So that line definitely got less steep. And if I take the line and I go translate it down, it moved it down -5. So that 1/2 made it less steep, and the -5 made it move down. Okay. So let's look for that answer choice. Here it said it got steeper. Okay, that's out. Less steep translated left. No. New line is steeper and translated right. No. Less steep translated down. There it is. So this made it translate down, and then the slope made it be less steep. Okay. Alright, so again, when in doubt, graph it out. Alright, so let's look at question number 7. Number 7, they basically want just the slope of this line and the y-intercept, and then the final equation. So for slope, I'm going to use this point right here that they've kind of highlighted for me, and I'm going to do the rise and run. Now you can also do this in the spreadsheet. And so I've already shown you how to do one of those in the spreadsheet. You do need the points. If you're going to do the spreadsheet, you do want to go ahead and make a table and get the points you're going to use. And you only need 2 points. Like I would use -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. And then I would use 1 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 5. And so you would go and put this in the spreadsheet, do a menu 413, And that'll give you what you need. I mean, we might as well actually do it that way, because now that I think about it, I'm looking at the B, and that B is somewhere around here. So it's kind of like, I don't know, is that 0.5? Is that 0.4? So now that I think about it, I'm going to go ahead and do the spreadsheet. It'll give me a way better answer, a more accurate answer. So let's go ahead and use the spreadsheet on that. So we're going to go over here, use the fourth app. That's our spreadsheet app. We're going to put the X and the Y. We're going to put the 2 points off of that line, which were -3, -5. So -3, -5. And then I'm also going to use 1, 5. So 1 and 5. And all you have to do is menu 4, 1, 3. Click on the X, click on the Y, hit OK. Boom, there's your equation. There's your M, there's your B, and you've got your full equation there. So Y equals 2.5x plus 2.5. So let's go back over here. The M was 2.5. This is your M. This is your B, which is 2.5. And so your final equation, which is mx plus or minus b, ended up being 2.5x and then plus 2.5. Okay? Alright, so much easier, and you're very accurate if you use that spreadsheet. Alright, so on question number 8, again, it says which expression is equivalent to, and then they give you this expression right here. Now, looking at this expression, we've got x and then times x. We've got y's in here. We've got some powers of 2's. So what we need to do here is something that actually I have not shown you before. So this is actually a pretty new skill. We're going to use the store skill in the calculator. So we're going to use the first app. And we're going to use a key that says STO, and I think it has like a little arrow. So let me show it to you. I'm going to go ahead and go to the first app. And over here, if you notice right here behind the VAR key, it says STO, and it has a little arrow. That's the store key. So what I'm going to show you how to do today is how we can store. We're going to pick a number for the X. We're going to let X be 3. 3 is a good number to pick. For the second number, like if you have another variable in your expression, we can use 5. And like if you had a Z, you could use 7. So we only have X's and Y's. So I'm going to store a 3 for these X's, and I'm going to store 5 for the Y's. We're going to type this in the calculator, and then we're going to see which one gives us the same answer. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. Again, you're using the first app. You're using this app. So we're going to type the 3. You type the number first. If you want to get to store, hit Control and then click that number there, and let's store it for the X, and then press Enter. Now it says it cannot accept change. I probably need to clear out these tabs. Like there's a lot of X's going on in these tabs. Let me go ahead and clear that out and try that again. So if you get an error like that, no worries. Let's try it again. So let's try it again. 3, Control, Store, X, and then press Enter. There we go. There's just too many X's in the tabs. Now let's go ahead and store 5, Control, Store, and let's put that in for the Y. So now what you're going to do is literally just basically type this expression in the calculator, and it's going to give you a number value. It's going to plug in a 3 for the X's and a 5 for the Y's, and it's going to do the math. So let's go ahead and type that in. It's 3x, and then in parentheses I got 4x plus y, okay, and then open parentheses, negative 5y. So when I type the expression in here, it's going to, again, plug in the 3 is going to go where the x's are, and the 5 here is going to do the math. Oops, it says invalid implied multiply. Oh, okay, when it says that, you might want to go back and put a multiplication sign right here. For some reason, this calculator has a little glitch in it, and when there's like an X next to an X and you're multiplying them and there's parentheses, it doesn't recognize this multiply. So I'm going to put a little multiplication symbol there. I'm even going to put one here because these two parentheses side by side also mean to multiply. So let's try that. Boom, there it is. So now what I want to do is I want to go through each expression and I want to see which one will give me the negative 3825. So we're looking for which one of these will equal to negative 3825. So I'm going to type the first one here. Let me see. Let me go ahead and go straight to the correct answer, so that way this doesn't take too much longer. The correct answer was H. So I'm going to show you how that's going to equal to that. So let's go ahead and type in H. It's negative 60, and then x squared y, take away, and then 15xy squared, and then press enter. Variable is not defined. No value is assigned to variable. Use one of the following store commands. So I guess we're going to have to store that again. So we're going to do 3 control store for the x, and then we're going to do 5 control store for the y. So now let's retype it. So you might have to just store it again. Okay, and then y, and then take away 15xy squared. Okay, let's keep your fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. Okay, variable is not defined. No values assigned to variable. Use one of the values. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe, I've inputted the store command. Wow, I guess it's not going to work. Wow, bummer. Alright, well, when in doubt, we try to, let's see if we can graph it. I don't know. When in doubt, graph it out. So let's try that. Let's try graphing. Let's see if that'll help. Since it already has y's in it, I might want to go to relation. Let's try doing it that way. I don't think this is going to work, though. Well, let's try it anyway. 3x, and then parentheses, 4x plus y. And then let's put parentheses, negative 5y. Okay, it's not going to work. Well, okay, so now we got to resort to pencil and paper. Alright, this is why it's important to know your algebra, so that when something like this comes across, then you're able to kind of go back and say, okay, let's just scratch that, let's try something else. You just got to keep at it, you got to try different routes. Sometimes one route doesn't work, then we can go back and say, you know what, I know how to distribute, I know how to multiply, so I can do this problem. So we all know parentheses means you know, to distribute when you have something here. So let's go ahead and distribute it. 3x times 4x is 12x squared. 3x plus 1y, so we're going to multiply these two now. So plus 3 times 1 is 3xy. Okay. Now we need to multiply all of that times the negative 5y. And so again, we can distribute. We can take this negative 5y times that, negative 5y times that. So 12 times negative 5, negative 60, x squared y. So x squared y. Got to put those variables in there. Negative 5 times 3 is a minus 15, and then x, y, we got two y's there, so xy squared. So this is the answer we're looking for. The correct answer was H, and I seem to have gotten it. So again, that just kind of proves to you that, hey, if one way does not work, try different ways. I was hoping the store function would work on this one, but I guess there's too many variables in it. I'm not sure what happened there. I'll have to ask my colleagues and see if maybe they can help me out with that one. Right? I'm going to put a little question mark. Just like you guys have questions, I have questions. All right, so let's look at number 9. Question number 9 says, which of the following functions has zeros? Okay, so we've been working with this lately. You guys know that 0, we do have a function for that in the calculator. It's menu 61. The zeros, remember, are where it crosses the x-axis, so we're looking for where it crosses the x, and that's why it says x equals 3 and x equals 6. So we're going to see which one of these functions has those zeros. Now, again, I know the answer. I'm going to go straight to the answer, so this doesn't take too long. And those of you who did it, you can see if you did, if you didn't know what to do, that's why I'm showing you, just so for those of you who had trouble with this. Let me go ahead and clear out my calculator, though. So I'm going to go straight to the answer. The factor, or the function, would have been parentheses x plus 3, and then times x minus 6. So this is the one. If I do a menu 61, click and drag, I can see that, okay, one of my zeros is a -3. And if I do it again, menu 61, click and drag, there's my other 0. And those are the zeros we were looking for, a -3 and a +6. And that's why the correct answer was J. So remember, you want to graph and then do a menu 61. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and look at question number 10 next. It says, which of the following equations is equivalent to? And then they give you this equation here. Now, again, there's that word equivalent, which means equal to. So if I graph, remember how we did that other question, if I graph this and then I graph my answers, I just need to graph and match. Find which one of these has the matching picture. Now, I know this is a linear function just by looking at the equation, so when I graph that, that should be a linear function. And you do need to use a relation because it's in standard form. So 5x, turn the page here, 5x minus 6y, and then equals 30. So here what I want to do is, let me show you how the answer that's correct is B. So I'm going to graph the answer, y equals, and then control divide, 5/6, and then it's x, take away 5. And you're going to see graph and match. Boom, same picture. See how blue turned to red? So it was the same line. So the correct answer on that one was B. So again, when in doubt, graph it out. Let's look at number 11. Question 11, the table below shows the amount of calories burned while rowing. What is the rate of change? So on this one, you have your rate of change. So you got a table here. So you've done something like this before already. This would be the spreadsheet app. Here's your X, here's your Y. You're going to type it in the spreadsheet and then just do a menu 413. So I'm not going to do that again, save us some time. But you would find out that the correct answer is H. Okay. All right, so let's look at number 12 next. It says a linear function is graphed on the coordinate grid below. What is the function? So again, you got this picture, you got some graphs here. When in doubt, graph it out. So all we really need to do here is graph each one of these and then match it with that picture. So you want to match it with this picture here. So some of the things you need to look for, what's the y-intercept? Because this one crosses at 2. This one crosses at 3. Look at the slope. It's negative. So it's got to have that negative m. Okay? So it's got to have a negative slope. Alright, so let's go ahead and let me show you how. I know the answer is on this one J, but let me kind of just quickly go through it. You do want to use relations on this one because that equation is in what we call point slope. So y plus 8 and then equals, control divide, what is that, a negative 2/3. And then in parentheses, x minus 15. Now, you do need to zoom out, it looks like, or maybe I typed that in wrong. What did I do wrong? Because it should cross to 2. Okay, so maybe I did pick the wrong answer on this one. Let's try that again. Let's try, okay, so it's y, let me try typing it in. Maybe I did something wrong. Y plus 8 equals a negative control divide. Looks like that's a 2 over 3. And then in parentheses, x minus 15. Okay, let's try that again. There it is. I don't know, I must have typed something wrong. Alright, so there it is right there. If you look at the y-intercept, it's crossing at 2, my x-intercept, and you can always trace. Remember that 51 will trace up and down that line. You can see that your y-intercept is 2, and then you can scroll down. Boom, there's your 0, which is your x-intercept. So, yeah, we're good. This is the right one. Okay, I just probably just typed it in wrong. Okay. Alright, so let's look at question number 13 next. Alright, so question 13 says the graph of x squared and negative x plus 3 squared on the following coordinate, which statement is true? So basically these are functions and I just need to graph them. So again, we're going to graph. When in doubt, graph it out. You're not sure what to do, hey, graphing has really helped on this benchmark review and it's really going to help. I truly, I mean, I can tell you truthfully, because I've looked at several previous exams, and wow, there's just so much graphing on them. So many problems that you can solve by just graphing. Alright, so there's your x squared. We're going to hit the tab key, type in negative, parentheses, x plus 3 squared. Notice it did reflect across the x-axis. And it looks like it moved this way from here this way, so it shifted to the left and it flipped over. So it flipped over and then it shifted this way. Okay, so we just kind of need to look at that. So let's see, didn't get wider, didn't get narrow, open in the opposite direction. Yeah, I did do that. It intersected the y-intercept 3 units higher than the graph. No, it didn't go up. So the best choice is C. It's saying that it opened up in the opposite direction. In other words, this one was like this, and then even though it shifted this way, they don't mention that, but it did open in the opposite direction. So that's the best choice. The best choice is C. Alright, so let's look at question number 14. Here it says which expression is the factor of, and they give you this function, 16x squared minus 25. And again, you should recognize that as a quadratic. It's got that power of 2 in it. So when in doubt, let's graph it out, see if we can figure it out this way. You could do the tic-tac-toe method, but you would have to make sure you remember to put that 0x, because at tic-tac-toe you got to have the 3 terms. But I'm going to go ahead and graph it, and I'm going to see if I can figure out the answer that way, and we're going to graph the answers. So we're going to do a little graphing here, see if we can figure it out that way. So let's do 16x squared, and then take away the 25, enter. Okay, I can't see the bottom here of my graph, so let me change these numbers. Just got to double click in there. Let's go negative, I don't know, 20 maybe, a little bit more. Let's try like a negative 25. There we go. So you can see it's a quadratic. So now I'm going to graph each answer. 16x minus 5 is the first one. Okay, I don't see anything there. See that the answers, remember that when it comes to quadratic, the answers are here on the x-axis. So whichever one is the correct factor should be a line that goes through these zeros, goes through here. Because remember, these are solutions. These are the zeros, these are the x-intercept, these are the roots. So let me keep looking here. Let's 4x minus 5. Ah, there we go. You see how that line goes right through that? So that is a factor. That's one of the factors of this. If you try the other answer choices, you'll see that this one's not even a line. It's like another quadratic, so I don't even see it there. And then 4x minus 16, you see the line's going over here. So it's got to go through those zeros. Okay, that's how you can find the answer to this one. So the correct answer there was B. So again, graph, and then find the line that goes through a 0. Because those are your solutions. Alright, so let's look at question number 15. This one here says, which linear function best represents the relationship between the money made? Okay, so they give you a scatter plot. And they basically want the equation for that scatter plot. Now, the best thing to do here is maybe draw a line of best fit, kind of going through your scatter plot dots to kind of see where it would cross the y-axis. I'm going to extend it way down here. So that y-intercept is actually going into the negatives. Like, it's pretty much off the grid here. You can kind of see that if I extended this, like, a little bit further, I don't know, let's try to extend it down like that. You can kind of see you're in the negatives already, and they're going by hundreds, so like the next one would be -100, and you know, so you're in the negatives. So if you look at your answer choices, now look at it, it does have a positive slope, so you want to look for an m that's positive. Okay, your m must be a positive number. Let me move this line aside because I can't see my choices here. Let me just kind of back out of this. There we go. Move that aside too. So if you notice, that's a positive slope, positive, positive. Okay, they all have a positive slope. Now we need to see which y-intercept is in the negatives. Well, that one's not, that one's not. So I know I can eliminate right off the bat A and B. Now this one is -10, but remember I showed you that it's like down here. -10 would barely be like right here. So I don't think that scatter plot, unless I kind of drew it like that. Let's see, I feel like it would be better like about right there. Because you kind of want to have the same amount of dots on the top and the bottom, so no. It's definitely got to be a lot lower, so I would go with 30x minus 155 for this one. So it's just kind of trial and error, just kind of trying to see which one is the best fit is basically what you're looking for. Okay. Now I know some teachers say try to pick maybe 2 points, like maybe you could pick that point and maybe that point and do the spreadsheet. You know, you might be able to find an equation very close to that. I mean, we could have done that as well. So either spreadsheet or just kind of eliminate answers on this one. Okay, so you might want to put there. Could use a spreadsheet and do, you know, try and get the equation that way, and then just pick the closest equation, which I feel is D, and or just trial and error, like eliminate answers and kind of look at the slope, look at the y-intercept, because correct answer there is D. All right, so let's look at question number 16. Question number 16. Okay, we're already on the other page. Let's see here. Question 16. All right. So question 16 says, given the function g of x equals -4 times x minus 1, what is the value of g of -5? All right, so you got a function here, and they're telling you g of -5. So if you think about it, g of -5. The -5, see how it's in the parentheses, the same as the x, is the x. So all you need to do is literally just plug it in. So it's -4 parentheses -5 minus 1. So just use simple substitution. Go over here to your basic app. -4 times -5 minus 1. Boom. Your answer would be 24. Now this calculator, I haven't shown you this before, but this calculator actually does function notation. You can actually type that in and then type in g of -5 and it'll give you the answer. The only thing is you need to remember to use a specific symbol. Instead of using the equal sign, you use this little symbol that has 2 little dots and then an equal sign. And then you basically just kind of type your function in like this. And this is for using the first app. And then You hit enter, and then you type in g of -5 and hit enter, and it will actually give you your answer. So watch, let me give it a shot here. I haven't done this in a while, so let's see if it works. Keep your fingers crossed. G of x, here's that little equal sign right here with the little dot. So control that, and then let's type in the function -4 parentheses x minus 1. Press enter. It says it's done, storing it. And now let's do g parentheses -5. Boom, 24. So if you remember that, you can use it. Otherwise, just substitute. That's really all this problem involves, is just substitution. Okay? All right, so let's look at number 17. 17 says, what are the solutions to, and they give you a function there. Now, in looking at that function, if you multiply 7x times x, that would be 7x squared. And then 7x times -2 would be minus 14x. So this is actually a quadratic. So solutions means I need to find the zeros. I need to find where it crosses the x-axis, which are also called the x, remember Xerox, the S. If you think of the word Xerox, the S stands for solutions. And so all of them are talking about where does it cross the x. Now in the calculator, it's called a zero. And then sometimes they do refer to them as roots, and then the x is your x-intercept. So I'm just going to do a menu 61 on this one. I do need to move this over. You do always want to make sure that your equation is set equal to 0. So I do need to do little adjustments here by adding 7 to both sides. So 7x times x minus 2 plus 7. And then that 0 now becomes your y. You basically just need to type in this part into the calculator. So let's try it. 7x, and then in parentheses, what was that? X minus 2 and plus 7. Okay, so when it gives you this message here, it's not that we have something wrong. What happened was, right here, remember I told you this calculator does not recognize an x times an x for some reason, so you do have to put a little time symbol in there. And then press enter, and it'll give you your quadratic. So there it is. Looks like it has one solution, and it's right there. So I'm going to do a menu 61, click and drag, and there it is. Solution is 1, which would be C. So the correct answer on this one was C. Now 18 ended up being a bad problem. 18, I don't know, the answers were, I don't even see x's in some of these, and really what you would do is just literally graph the two equations and then just match it up. So if you come across something like this on your benchmark, just graph the two equations, match the picture. So graph and match. Number 19, which inequality represents all the values of x. So they basically give you an inequality, and then they give you some answers. So again, you just need to graph and then match. So graph and match on that. Okay. I'm not going to do that because I know you can do that already. Let's go ahead. Oh, by the way, let me give you the answer for that one, though. This one was just a bad problem. You can omit that one. 19 was F. So those of you who did it, correct answer was F. On 20 here, we're basically just would go through and we would identify these parts on the quadratic. The zeros, here's your picture here, and they want you to identify the zeros. The zeros is where it crosses, remember, the x, because you want to think of Xerox. So again, there's 4 words that mean the same exact thing. And ZE will remind you of the word zero. RO, the word root. X, x-intercepts, and S for solutions. So all 4 of these answers should be the same, and all of them are where it crosses the x-axis. It's all about the x. So we just need to look right here and right here. -5, -1. So one of the x's is -5 and the other one is -1. Same thing here. One of them is -5, -1. Solutions, -5, -1. So as you can see, it's the same answer over and over because it's the same. They're asking you the same thing, just a different word to say it. Now, maximum value is the highest y coordinate. This is the maximum value right here, which is 4. The maximum vertex is the highest point, so -3, 4. And then the axis of symmetry would be the line that splits it down the middle. It has to go through the vertex. And so, let's see, let me move that over a little bit, about right there. So if you look for your equation, it's going to be x equals, what, -3? So -3. And then your y-intercept would be down here where it crosses the y-axis, so 0, -8. Okay? So make sure you know all the parts of a quadratic for your benchmark. You really should take your booklets home, study all the booklet, maybe the night before. Now here, which ordered pair shows that y is a function of x? And so function, remember, means no repeated x's. So when they want to know if it's y a function of x, you cannot have repeated x's. So no repeated x's. So right here, see, if you look, that's 0, 1, 2, 3. All those x's are different. Now on 22, they want to know what is a solution to the following systems. So here's a good problem. We had this something similar earlier, and the problem was not that good because the answers were incorrect. But basically, you just want to graph both of those equations and then find the intersection. And we do have menu at 64. So you just want to find out where they intersect. So find intersection. And so menu 64. So we'll do this. We'll go over here, graph it. And you do have to use relations on this one because if you look at those equations, they're not solved for y. So 2x plus 3y. And then equals to, what is that? -3. Hit tab, type in the next one. X plus 5y equals 9. So x plus 5y equals 9. Boom. So this is where they intersect. That's where our answer is. So menu 64, click and drag. There's your answer. So your solution is 8. Okay. So again, just graph it out. When in doubt, graph it out. All right. So we're on the last page. We're running kind of short on time. Oh my goodness, it's taking quite a bit of time. Alright, so 23, 2 points are plotted on a coordinate grid as shown below. What is the y-intercept? So here what I would definitely do, if they want the y-intercept, that's the b. So if I get the equation and I know what the b is, because this is my y-intercept, that's the number I need. So I've got 2 points. I definitely can use a spreadsheet with this. So I basically go to the spreadsheet app, do the menu 413, and boom, I'll get my my equation. And these are the 2 points. They even gave them to you, 1, 2, and 7, 4. So here the correct answer was, I believe, D. Okay. Now I did give you a decimal on this one. Like when you do it in the calculator, use a spreadsheet. I believe it gave you this decimal. But if you divide that and do a Control-Enter on your calculator, you'll see it's the same decimal. Okay? So don't let that, you know, like don't get freaked out about that. Just go divide it and change it to a decimal and see what it is. Now here they want to know what are the zeros. Again, you need to know that that means where it crosses the x-axis. So it's a little bit before, what is that, 4, 5, 6, a little bit before 6. So somewhere between 5 and 6. Somewhere between 0 and 1. So when you look at these answers, you want to find the best choice. Here it is right here. So that's about 1/3, and this is about 5 2/3. All these other answers are way off. 1.5 would be here, 6 would be here, -1 is here, 7's over here. So you can kind of see everything else is way off. All right, so let's look at number 24. What is the standard form that contains these 2 points? So again, when in doubt, graph it out, because they give you points, they give you functions. You can definitely graph these. Now I'm going to graph them, and then I'm going to do a menu 811 so I can plot those 2 points. So we're going to plot the points because those points need to be on that line. If they're going to be part of this, you know, an answer off this line, they must be on the actual line. Now the correct answer is G, but I'll show you what I would do to solve that on the calculator. So I'm going to go to relations. I'm going to type in 5x plus 4y equals negative 14. I'm going to go to menu, go to 8, 1, 1. I'm going to open the parentheses, and I'm going to type in each one of those points, see if they're on the line. So 2, enter, negative 6, enter. Okay, so see how the point ended up being on the line. Do the next one, parentheses, negative 6, enter, 4, enter. Boom. See? So both of them have to be on the line, so that's the correct answer. Okay. Alright, so let's look at number 26 next. 26 says, what is the equation of standard form of the line that passes through a point, and then they want to know which one would have the right slope. So again, they gave you a point. We can plot the point, and I can show you how to find slope in the calculator, so we got this. All we need to do is graph each one of these. And then we can do a menu 811 with the point, and then with this we can do a menu 833 to find the slope. So I do know the correct answer here is F, so we're going to go ahead and go straight to the answer. So we're going to do I have to hit relations because it's in standard form. So 3x plus 5y and then equals 125. Okay, now I got to plot that point, menu 811, open the parentheses, 1, enter, 24, enter. Okay, so there's the point, it's on the line. Okay, I'm going to hit escape, move this out of the way so you can see it. And now I want to see if it has the correct slope. So I'm going to use menu, go to 8, go to number 3 for measurement, and go to slope. And all I have to do is click on the line, then click in the blank space, and there it is. So yep, it's got the right slope, it's got the right point, so A is the correct answer. See, slope is negative 0.6. Alright, so let's look at number 27. 27, it says, which inequality best describes the graph shown below? So this is a simple one, like you guys know you just need to graph those. Be very careful on these though. A lot of times some of you won't click on the line and you think it's solid and it's not. So just make sure when you do this that you do graph your inequalities and that you actually click on the line. Because you do want to make sure that it's dotted. And you also want to make sure that your line goes through somewhere around 4 and 5 and that it has a negative slope and that the shading is above. So those are things you want to look out for. Now the correct answer here would have been D. So again, I can quickly show you here. We can go to, what is that, Y. The correct answer was this one. Y is greater than, control divide, negative 4 over 3x and then plus 5. Now do you see how it looks solid? So that's what I mean, is that it looks deceiving. You have to click on the line so it lightens the shading. You can see that it is a dotted line. It is going through somewhere around 4 and 5, so this is definitely the answer. Okay. Alright, so let's look at 28. So what is the slope of the line that passes through? So anytime they give you points and they want slope, please think of the spreadsheet app. Please put the two together. They want the M. And so you can use that spreadsheet app. You can, enter those 2 points and do a menu 413. Okay, so I'm not going to do that again. Here are the points you would use. You always want to set up your table with the 2 points just so that you type them in correctly and just do a menu 413. And remember, the M is what we're looking for. So here the correct answer was B. And then now we're on 29. 29 says solve this equation for x. What is the value of x? So again, when they want you to solve an equation for x, guys, 2 things you can do. Take the 2's and plug them in and see if the 2 sides are equal, or you can do a menu 31. Okay, so you go to the first app, which is your calculator app, and you literally just do menu 31, which is that numerical solve is what we call it. Okay, and so you type it in. Now make sure you put the comma, you put the X, parentheses, you know, should be before and after. And so the correct answer there would have been 2. Alright, well, we went over 10 minutes in this recording. Hope your teachers fast-forwarded a little bit. Sorry for the delay on some of the problems. But as you can see, even teachers kind of fumble with problems, and we try different things. But the main thing is here, just, you know, do your best tomorrow. That's all we expect. We've worked so hard to try and prepare you guys, and I hope you guys appreciate all the hard work your teachers do. They really do go up and beyond, you know, what they are even asked to do. They always go up and beyond. So we just expect the same from you. So good luck tomorrow. Get a good night's rest. Eat a good breakfast, and do your best, guys. It's time to celebrate what you've learned. All right? See you tomorrow.